Alright y'all, we're back. Cookster here. Still working on my dad's truck. One day I'll stop calling that truck my dad's. It's my truck, but to me it'll always be my dad's truck. So today we're going to wipe some filler on the places we blocked up and found in the last video, the rust pits and a couple little small dents, a couple little waves. I use the Rage Ultra. This stuff's gotten stupid expensive, but it's really good filler. The putty I was talking about, when I mentioned, you hear me talk about filler or putty. Filler is, I use the Rage Ultra for the filler. The putty I use is the Evercoat polyester putty. It's also two-part putty, same hardener goes in both of these. This has gotten stupid expensive as well. Also, when it comes to sanding, this putty sands. It's not harder to sand. It's more gummy. It's a little more, to me, it's a little harder. It's a little more difficult to sand than regular. Well, not regular, than the Rage is. But it serves its purpose. Little tiny pinholes and little ripples and stuff right at the end. That's what this stuff is made for. Dents, obviously, it's not made to fix a dent, although you can do minor little ripples and waves. This is what I use to fill major pinholes and pits and of course dents and stuff. 90% of what I'm doing on my roof is rust pits and a little ding or two. Either product would work. I'm going to use the Rage because I like the way it sands better. I can control it a little bit better as far as temperature and the amount of filler. That stuff kicks really quick, especially in the summertime. In the summertime, it'll kick really quick. And also, most of what I'm doing has been sanded back down to the epoxy primer anyway. But you can put this over epoxy primer, of course, and then if your primer, two-part primer, not polyester, polyurethane primers, if they're cured, you can put that over there too. I've never had a problem with it peeling loose. So anyway, that's what I'm about to do. Oh, this is my Bondo board, I call it. It's not really a board, it's a piece of 1/4 inch plexiglass. I've had that piece of plexiglass for 30 years or more. I guess most every car I ever fixed, which is quite a few, I wipe the Bondo using this board. I just take a paint paddle, the good paint paddles, dunk in there and get what I need. I take a putty knife, a wide putty knife, and I mix it, and then that's how I do it. Now, here, especially now, it's hot. It's 85 degrees. It's 90 degrees outside, 92, 85 in my shop. I believe, let me look here. Well, we got 80, we got 82, and today's only 69% humidity. How about that? Nearly 70% humidity. So anyway, and I don't have time to mix filler, get over there and move my camera, set it back up, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm by myself, so I won't show mixing the filler this time. I've got other videos which I've shown mixing filler. If I try to, I'll link them down in the description down here if I remember. If not, I'll show it in another video on working on this truck. So I'm gonna get my filler mixed up and get ready to wipe a little bit. Alright gang, I had my filler mix ready to wipe filler and the battery died. I bought a new battery for this camera a year or so ago and it's a piece of junk. Anyway, so my battery died and I had that filler mix. There was no way I could stop and take care of the camera with the filler mix. So I had to work my way on through it. So I wiped all my little areas here. You can see most of them. And what I did, I like to work body filler when it just starts to harden up, cure. It gets sticky, but it's not completely hard yet. It's really easy to sand, and I also like to take a cheese grater. We call them tater graters, just a cheese grater. You rough the top down, and I've done I got some videos with those, using those as well. So I roughed it in, got the sticky, I call it, off the top, and then I used some 36 to rough it down, which sounds really coarse, and it is. you know, on a panel that's already primed, but I got enough experience. You know, I kind of know how to do it and not go too far. It roughs it down really quick. You can do it with 80 or even 180 if you want. It just take a whole lot longer. So what I've done, and again, I apologize y'all didn't see it in the rough, but I couldn't help it. So I roughed them all down with 36. I got my new battery situation going here. So now I'm going to come back and take some 80. I've also got these little sanding pads. These are also little Dura Blocks that I like to use. They're just handy and convenient. You know, these are great too. I like using these as well. And of course the big ones. So I'm going to start filing the roughness on down. My goal was to get down to 180 and get most of the sand scratches out. Back to 180 scratches, which is what I had when I started before, you know, before working on it. So you can see, let me turn the camera just a little bit. I didn't lock it down. That wasn't smart. Stop. So I'm gonna finish roughing it on down here. I'm trying not to put any more sand scratches in my primer than I have to. But I'm gonna sand most of that out, if not all of it. Of course, we're gonna prime over it and block it again, obviously. And I can see. So this is the spot I just worked on. You can see the filler is in there. You can see there's a big 40 grit scratch right there that I will finish blocking on out. So we're back down to having the filler all the way off. That was with 80, so now I'm going to take my 180 block. And I'll try and do this with one hand. I'm not sure if I can. And just work my way over it. Let me I can zoom in a little. Where am I at? Right there. So we're just going to work on over it. Again, because like I was blocking on primer yesterday. Now with the 180, I'm not really concerned about sand scratches. New sand scratches. I just want to work this down and get it good and smooth again. Just like yesterday, I don't want to cut through my epoxy primer. And that big 40 grit scratch I had is still kind of in there, so I'll work on that a little, and I'll prime that. That'll prime the block right out. So that may seem like a lot of work to fill these few rust pits I had. Let me see if I can show them to you. It's hard to, man, my sweaty arms again. It's hard to see them even for me, but there's basically an area right here that still got filler. Whoop, zoom out. Area right here still got filler in it, and a little bit right here, and there's those deep pinholes right here, rust holes. They still have filler in. The rest of that filler, I've sanded it all back off. So the rest of these spots are going to get the same treatment. So I'll let the camera run. Y'all can watch if you want. I don't know who's going to watch block sanding. It's a pretty boring thing. But I'll let the camera run. You can see Alright, now you can get a good view of all the rust pits, the white spots. That's where all the rust pits were, the filler filled in here, all down here. There's some more up over here. I didn't really wipe this far. The last one's kind of right there. They're all down through the rest of the drip rail. So I got to do this on the rest of the drip rail. But here's this corner done, and then I got to sand the rest of this. So I've given you the once over about how I do this. I'm not going to film the rest of it. I don't think anybody would want to watch it, and if you do, I'm sorry. I changed my mind. I'll film sanding it. I mean, I probably will time lapse it, speed it up, so just so you can see. Somebody probably wants to watch it, so. All right. So I'm going to finish up all the rest of the filler work I got to do. Like I said, under the drip, all the drip rails, under the windshield, maybe the A-pillars. We'll see how far I get with that. I'll do all that filler work, and I'll come back and show you what I got. All right, I decided I'd go ahead and film and pan the camera around. The areas underneath here that have got the pretty deep rust pits, and then the nicks on the top of the drip rail. Decided I'd go ahead and show filling those. And this time I am using the Evercoat putty. This is such a small, requires such a small amount of filler that using body filler doesn't make a lot of sense, and that's what this stuff's made for. I mean, it's perfect for this. You know, I can mix up in small batches, golf ball size or so. This stuff sets fast, though. You got to watch your hardener with it. It'll kick over just like that, especially in this hot weather. So I'm gonna mix up some filler. I'm actually gonna crawl in the. I got the engine out, so I can crawl over inside the engine bay and get better access. So let me get set up to do that. I didn't mention it. I put tape under here to protect the areas I don't want to get filler on. There's nothing worse than getting this stuff somewhere where you don't want it, then you got to sand it all back off. Which can be quite annoying and sometimes difficult. And you wind up sanding your primer and everything off, you know, down to bare metal, which you don't want to do either. This putty here, trying to talk and work at the same time and think about what I'm doing. You really have to watch the hardener with this stuff. It sets fast anyway. And when it gets hot in the summertime, it really sets fast. I probably got a half a golf ball of filler on here, maybe not quite that much. And it just takes a little dab. I couldn't show you because I don't have time. I mean, I don't have the camera set up in there. I'll show you at some point. It just takes a little dab of this of the hardener in this filler, especially in this heat. And I'm working all these little bitty areas, so I want a longer work time anyway. I mean, it's little enough you think it's not going to set. It'll set, believe me. These are really difficult places to work. They're small, they're tedious, they're aggravating, but they need to be done, as I was saying before. This stuff's starting to set up right now. I got a little more work time, but not much. So I'm gonna waste, well, half a pot of what I mixed up I'm gonna waste. I got too much hardener, and I was trying to be very conservative, and I still got too much hardener. That's what happens in the summertime, and I ain't been doing this for a while, so I'm rusty, out of practice. So I get my, you know, I'm not as in tune with it as I would be if I was out here doing it every day, all day, every day. So this stuff is setting up now. I'm just gonna. Luckily, these are just pinholes, pits. I can kind of work it down in there and it'll work. If I was trying to wipe like a low area or something, I'd be SOL probably. I'm just cramming this down these pits best I can. But for the most part, this filler's, I'm past point of no return. Right, that's it. I'm done. So let me turn the thing around. Half of what I mixed I wasted. So, and I was very conservative with the filler, with the hardener. Now, this filler, this putty, you let it dry completely before you sand it. It's not like body filler where you can, like that Evercoat stuff, other grade, where you can kind of get on it before it dries. This filler doesn't really work that way. So we'll let this dry. Let me sand it with 80 grit to start off with. Alright, let's see what we got here. Like I said, I'm using 80 grit to start off with. Once I get it cut down, I'll switch to 180. This stuff doesn't sand nearly as softly or easily, I guess is the word. Body filler does. It does sand good, especially with 80. If you're trying to fix a nick or something in your body work, your filler, whatever, you know, and 80 is too aggressive. You can sand it with 180. It's a lot slower. That's why I was saying, you know, a lot of times I use filler for stuff, but for small nicks like this, that polyester putty is perfect for this. So I'm just kind of roughing it down with 80 grit, especially these little nicks on top. I had to just load the filler in there, and I've got to sand most of it back out. I'm roughing it down with the 80, and then I'll take the 180 and finish it on up. And these are little nicky-nack places, or whatever word you want to call them. They're very minor, but they're definitely places that you need to fix if you want a good-looking paint job. You don't want to have a bunch of little small flaws, you know, stuff that people will eventually see, or you will see as the owner. You'll see them eventually. For whatever reason, your eye will go to that spot for something, and then there's that flaw forever and a day that you left in there 2 years ago or whatever. So I certainly don't like that. Now, this drip rail right here has got a little bend in it. It's bent. It's a very small amount though. It's not enough to really worry about. It's just a little minor ripple. It's so slight that even I'm not going to worry about it. Now let's take some 180 on my little block here and go across it and see what we wind up with. Should come out pretty good. I'm going to have to sand. I'll get over in the middle in a minute and sand that middle. While I'm over here on the edges, I thought I'd go ahead and do this while I'm here. Yeah, that looks and feels much better. Anywhere you got extra sandpaper, extra filler, be sure and get it off. Like I had a little piece roll over right there. Sand that off, or it'll be there. You don't want that to show up in your paint job. And again, these little nicks I'm feeling are so small, but yet they were definitely there. They'll definitely show up in your paint job if you get them fixed. There's a couple of nicks here. There's also a couple of rust pits. So we're fixing, you know, more than one thing in some places. Rust pits and little nicks. Got some back here I want to get out. This is the excess where it rolled over the back side. We'll get that. Another piece of 180s over there. Hit the back side with some 180s just because that can make it feel better. You see something first, like that, right? You start away, drop bad, doesn't want to say. Be sure you back side up. Clean up. I'll show you. That's all these paper. You got to do it. Fix it. That's it. Look at all that. What else out here? Not you go. Hey, one around this one, please. I'm like, I go around my paper, so I'm not going to fix myself. Very slight. Block up. Block your fix it. So I'm leaving a. Just block out around for sure. So, Little spot up here on the kit. Same. This. It's going to block it on that one. But you maybe have to lock your knockdown. Lock it down. When you close. Wait. That's how much you made in the front. You get down in the front, it's smooth. Can't get you out. Can't just wait. You don't put your good. And you can't really. I'll start work yourself. That's about here. Take it away. Lock it in. Same block. Take out your small plate. Watch it. Take it to the first. Still a good job there. Go ahead. There's still something I need. I like that. Then you're going to get so I'll come back again. I'm going to put back here. I get to it. I'll get it. So I'm going to do that. Not do this. Just like that. I think it's really rusty right there. Bug me. I go. Can't come here. No, we don't. Right now. I'm going to now. It'll do. It's all that I get here. I'm going to take a couple of things. Quickly. Get all the beans fixed on the fixed. I'm not going to get I'm going to put it. You can see this. Let's pop in here. Now, let's this. Let's this. I just like this upside down hard to get to. That's the thing. Sometimes. I can't get it. Well, no problem. We'll probably do it. It's a lot of power. Just like I do the same other. Be careful what I'm saying. Be careful what I'm saying. Not dig back in and walk in this piece of the I'm going to take on there. I'm sure that. I'm going to get it. You know, this is where I'm back. I'll only take it. I'm not going to get it. I'm all right with it. I'm not getting about that. Put it down. Am I ready? You know, same thing like that. I can keep going, careful. But it's pretty same like this. Same thing, out. Most of that, not doing it. Pretty good. Get here, I think I'll send it over here. I got it. I'll send it down here. It's easy to do sometimes. I'll show you later. I'll touch my later first. I'll show you. It's always right here. I'll touch my here. I'm not going to lock around. It's already touching it. So I'm going to fix it. I'll hold you. I'll go down here. So, yeah. That's me too. You know, back is different. Whatever back inside, I'm the same thing. I'm trying to do it in mind. Alright, that's in there. That was I missed what I'm saying. Do it up here, better access, better. Like I was saying yesterday, you know, getting in a comfortable position and all that kind of stuff. It's just a lot better way to do this. I'm panning down a little bit, but you can still see. I'm just roughing it down again with the 80. Wait, it's not. That's got most of the top of your grill. Bro, there's still a couple of nicks. I'll probably do it now. I'll do some working down. I'll do right here, I'll have my whole top of your grill. I'm just going to do my phone, and it'll leave. So, pretty good. I'm going to put something in. Yeah, top of the roof. Go around that side. Like anything like same thing, so. On the front edge, we're good to go. So, got one spot here to do. Please on your extra I'm going to not down. Get close to it. Right here in this corner, I had a tape that I put on and the filler went over top of it and it's still stuck under there. Take a knife or a razor blade or something and just very carefully go along it, and you'll pop it loose. And then just a little bit of filler in the corner, which is what happened to me here. I have to run the sandpaper over that, which is what I was trying to avoid, but it does happen. You got to sand it out. It won't look good, or you'll leave a mess of filler under there that you don't want. So that's just that little bit there, and that cleared that right up. If I hadn't had the tape under there, I'd have a big old gob of filler. I'd have to sand and sand and sand and sand to get out of there. You don't want to do that if you can avoid it. It's just more aggravation. Alright, so that's round number 1 of using the putty to fill all little dings. I've got to go through it again to get the ones I didn't get before, this last pass. So I'm not going to film that. I showed you how to do it, one pass through. Alright, I'm going to end this video here. These videos are getting long again. I've mentioned 2 or 3 times, all the videos I seem to make are pretty long and going into detail. I'm starting to rethink that that's the way to go. I don't know. I'm doubting myself quite a bit, actually. As I've been saying, thanks for being here. I appreciate you looking in. I hope you made it to the end of the video. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks a lot for sticking with me all through this. I don't know. These long videos are starting to, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm trying to show stuff in detail and, I don't know. I'm rambling. So anyway, I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I will catch you on the flip side. Y'all come back now, you hear? Yabba dabba doo. Woo.